Welcome back. If you're watching this video, I hope that you've had a chance to watch part one of my first week of learning how to play the double-strung harp. So my first video included my first 3.5 days of learning the double strung, and I stopped halfway through day 4. So the rest of my week is included in this video. So here we go. We're going to continue with my first week with day 4, the second half of day 4, up till the end of the week. And I hope that you found this useful to you and interesting enough to keep watching. If so, thank you very much. But I'm going to sight read now through the second half of the song, starting with the right hand part. It's moving up much higher on the strings than anything that I've played so far. So it's a new focal length that I have to deal with here. So we're way up here on high G. So we have one time on that phrase. And down here. And wow, I'm having a hard time refocusing now that I'm going from way up here. And I have to find the G and the C here. Okay, let's do that. So I probably should have stopped halfway through and then tried the left hand. So I'm going to do that now. I'll do the left hand only just half of it, and then we'll put them together. So now left hand's moved way up here. Way up here. Okay. Now even now, seeing the left hand that high, I need to just readjust here. Okay. So that first part is tricky, finding way up here that F triad. Now as I put the hands together, it's going to be even more challenging. So let's go. So let's just get that right now. Let's see. Oh boy, I'm having a hard time way up here. Start. Well, well, well. Kathy has her work cut out for her on this one. I'm going to stick right with this piece, working on my own a little bit longer today. And then tomorrow I'll try and see how I do tomorrow, putting the whole piece together for you to begin with. And then if that works, we'll go on from there. Have a great day. Talk to you later. It's day 5 on my double-strung learning journey. I've spent some time working on the piece that was new yesterday, Home on the Range. I'm still kind of struggling with it, and I'm wondering, because this one goes way up high, I'm having a little trouble focusing on those higher strings. I have progressive lenses, which means they have several different focal points in them, and when you get them, it takes a while for your eyes to be trained to know where to look for different distances. And after a while, you don't even notice it. Your eyes just know where to look through those lenses. Now I'm doing a whole different thing with distance, and I don't know if that is something that my eyes are going to adjust to with these lenses. Interesting thought. Sometimes I have no trouble focusing on either one or shifting my focus. I'm still consciously shifting my focus, and this is only 5 days in. So I'm just wondering if any of you have progressives, and if you think that made a difference, made it easier, made it more difficult, didn't matter. I'd be interested to hear about that. So it's not a disclaimer. It's just a question I have in my mind. So I'm going to stumble through that for you first. I worked on it just a little bit just before I started recording. I worked on it a little bit yesterday after I stopped recording. And I think it's a little better today. So I'm going to try to play it. I'm not probably leaving this tune after today either. Probably going to continue. But I will go to whatever comes next in the book after I've played through this for you. Okay. be a little better than yesterday. Still too many hesitations when I have to shift my hand position, so still a work in progress. On the next page is taps. Day is done, gone the sun. And so this has left-hand arpeggios in it, and they are using fingers 4, 2, 1. So 1, 4, 5 progression in the left hand instead of the triad, which is 1, 3, 1, 3, 5. This is, I'm sorry, 1, 5, 8 is now what we're doing. 1, 5, 8 with 4, 2, and 1 fingers. So we're doing that in C, and then we do have just some regular triads from A, an A triad, a G triad, and an F triad, and then back to the arpeggios, the fifths. So this is the left hand. So those are familiar patterns to me for the left hand. Now I'll play the melody with the right hand, see how my focus is doing. So we also saw that same 4, 2, 1 pattern in the right hand as well as the left, repeated several times. So that didn't seem too bad. Let's try 2 hands. I second guess myself on the right hand because in fact it is not 4, 2, 1. It's 3, 2, 1, which is what I just automatically played the first time, but then I thought, oh no, you're supposed to be doing 4, 2, 1, so I changed it. So that one is much more doable for me than the previous one was. Still not perfect, obviously, but let's see what she says to try next. You can do the, well, she suggests in many of these that you take the different accompaniment patterns that she suggests and try them with other pieces in the same key. So that's certainly something that can be done on your own as you go through. And the rest of the text is just sort of an explanation of what I just told you about the 4-2-1s in the left hand and that 1-5-8 pattern. So there's different shapes that you use in each measure, which is kind of good. And for those of you who are beginners, shapes are very important, that you begin to look at not each individual note on its own, but look at a measure or a set of notes and see what shape you need to play those by placing all your fingers at once. So for example, on that left hand, C, G, C, that's your shape. It comes up a lot in harp accompaniments. And the triad shape, which is every other string from the bottom. But then you have that. So in this one, she's got you going between those two shapes. So after a while, you learn to recognize those sets of notes, how to shape your hands to play them. And similarly, in the left hand, we've got that fourth shape, which is always played 3-1. Then you can either go 4-2-1 or 3-2-1, whichever feels good for you. Her fingering suggests 3-2-1. But again, you place. There's another triad. Which happens to be the opposite of. Now we're going down with that same shape. So as a pianist, as a trained pianist, we never talked about that because obviously it's a different ball of wax on the keyboard. So it took me a little while for that to sink in as somebody who was mostly self-taught on the harp, how important shapes are. And quicker you understand that, I think the easier it makes it for you. So I've got taps and Still Home in the Range to review. Oh, we've got Silent Night next. Now this is with more left-hand arpeggios. And this is one I think I mentioned before. I played it a lot. And so we've got that 4-2-1 pattern in the left hand, starting on different notes all the way. Sometimes it's a 4-3-1. That's interesting. The same note sounds on beats 1, 2, and 3. So she's got those notated where you're hitting the same note at the same time. And she chose certain patterns of scale steps to heighten this effect. So it says, play the left hand echo with a lighter touch than the right hand melody. Make the left hand actually sound like an echo, not like another sung syllable. If you play the left hand octave lower, you will have an arrangement that sounds lovely on a single course harp. And that's how I've played it before. No echoes though, but reverse engineering it like that might give you another idea. If you have a single course sheet music, try it on the double by moving the single course left hand an octave higher. And that's what she has done here. So I don't know if I'll get that echoing effect right away, but you'll at least see your hands are right parallel to each other, instead of, if you're already used to playing a single course harp, you're going to be here. Now you're going to be here. So I already see what she means. The second note here isn't the melody, but you're echoing the melody, so you want to go easy on that one. Okay, so. Well, trickier than I thought it would be. So that's where we'll begin next time and work out having those hands so close, a whole different feeling than playing it on the single course. So that looks like fun. And that's all for now. So we'll see you next time. Well, I'm back for day 6 of learning to play the double-strung harp. And, you know, it occurred to me that I sort of feel like a beginner all over again, and going back to the real basics of playing. And I decided this is an opportunity for me to focus more on things that I really skipped over in the beginning. Specifically hand placement. I've noticed, especially my right hand, my thumb is never really up where it should be. It's more like this. So as I'm working on these, I'm trying to remember to pay attention to that. And I also thought it might be a good time, speaking of going back to the beginning, to do a replay of a course that Heather Downie did on the How to Harp membership. And it's the post-beginner course. So she's teaching a tune, and through teaching that tune, teaching also some music theory. But she's also focusing on placement and hand position and that kind of thing. So today I went through one of the sessions of that course. I've decided to do one each day. It's going to be 11 sessions altogether, and when she first did the course live, it took place over 11 months, one session a month. But I'm trying to use it daily as a warm-up for myself and a reminder of just back to basics. And it's also giving me some different things to play on the double. I'm using the double for that class. So I did, I've done 2 of the sessions now, and that's what I did already today as for my warm-up for the day. So what I want to do today, before I proceed any further in Karen's book, is still work on the last 3 pieces, Home on the Range, Taps, and Silent Night, with a different accompaniment than earlier on. So I'm just going to sit here and practice through those without much commentary, and probably when I decide to edit this, I won't include everything that I'm going to do right here, but I'm just going to let the camera run while I review. And then I'm going to look at the next section of the book on my own. I just peeked a little bit, and it said if you're already an experienced harpist, that this is probably all you need to keep going, but then the book does continue, and I want to see what it continues with. And I'm still struggling with the focusing of the eyes and feeling like I'm stumbling along. And I'm hoping that at some point that will click in and it won't be so much of a challenge, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. So one thing that did occur to me is this 29 string double is actually higher in height than my 34 string single course harp. And so part of my issue when I get up to those high register, I realized the harp was way up here and I couldn't even see those strings. You probably saw me struggling with that. And I'm trying to find the right place. And I'm finding out if I really bring it down lower and angle it a little bit more toward me, now I can see those better. So it's a matter of me just finding out and getting used to this different height harp. And I think once that kind of settles in, I won't be struggling so much when I get way up here. I'm going to try that second page once more. So three things are going on in my brain. Just getting used to the position of the double, making sure this thumb is up. So some of the hesitation and haltingness is due to me going back and correcting that as much as I can. And then remembering amongst all that to read ahead in the music so I don't forget what's coming next. I found myself trying to do it from memory sometimes because I'm thinking so much about hand position and position of the harp so I can see the strings. So, work in progress. I am going to go on my own to do the taps and Silent Night songs again, which I found much easier. Although there were some nice chord shape changes in the Silent Night arrangement that Karen did intentionally so you could get an echo effect. And so on some of those arpeggios, the note that's the echo note needs to be not to be played as loudly as the melody notes that occurred just before it. So it's a little control thing there of just, not making that stick out like it's a melody note in the left hand. So I'm going to go on and I'm going to take a break because I'm finding I'm also tensing myself up a lot in the process of just getting used to positioning this other harp. And I'm trying to not get my shoulders too stiff. I have arthritic shoulders. I've got to do a lot of stretching and reminding myself to stop and stretch and move and not just keep going when I start to feel this tightening up. So that's all I'm going to show you today. And I'll probably practice a little more after I stop recording. The next episode marks a full week of me trying to learn how to play this beautiful instrument. So we'll see what happens and where I'm going to go from there. That's all for today. Bye-bye. So this is my week 1 update for you. I have been working solely on the double strung for a week. I think I did mention I was taking a replay of Heather Downey's post-beginner course. So she teaches a tune that she wrote, and she uses that to also teach about chords and inversions and different types of left-hand accompaniments to go with this tune. Each week it progressively builds. And that's been a good thing for me because it's a simple tune. Left-hand patterns are easy, but it's also a good review. It's good to go back and just review things you've studied in the past and really concentrate on it and make sure you haven't forgotten anything or haven't done anything incorrectly. So I've been using that each day, each session as a warm-up. And then I've gotten to the point in Karen Peterson's book where she says if you're already an experienced harpist, now you can start to apply tunes you already know to what she has introduced in the book. So I've been doing a little bit of that because I do have 3 pieces that I'll be playing in church in about a month from now. And right now I plan to do it on my single string harp. But I've been taking those pieces, which aren't too difficult. They're very pretty. So these I'm experimenting with. She gives a whole series of things you can do with tunes you know. Playing each hand separately, swapping hands around, playing the melody part in your left hand and the accompaniment in your right hand. And also putting the left hand up an octave, because you can now do that. You can, you won't have your hands crashing together. So I've been doing that, and also going back to the last few pieces that you've heard me practice, Home on the Range and Taps and Silent Night. So right now I think I'll start with Silent Night. I'm going to go through that. And I'm going to do a little bit with those other pieces. And as I do each one, I'll tell you what it is. Let's see how Silent Night goes. I haven't played it in a couple of days. I'll just keep working on this one for the rest of my time today. I am still having trouble focusing up here and just making bigger leaps from place to place. So, at the end of week 1, I have to be honest and say I'm a little discouraged that I still haven't been able to get my eyes trained to focus the way I want them to and as quickly as I want them to. I've heard it takes some people a week, it takes others 3 weeks. I've asked people about progressive lenses and if they help them or not, and I've heard mixed opinions about that. So it's only been a week. I know I need to take more time, and I'm determined to learn to play this instrument. I really love its sound. So by the end of the week, along with taking Heather Downey's post-beginner course, I have learned a few pieces and tried several more that I can't say are learned yet. I have one to share with you to compare with how things started in the beginning. So this is Heather Downey's piece called Lunaris, and she wrote it specifically for post-beginners in order to continue to teach skills of playing the harp along with some music theory and harmony and using different chords and scales and modes and left-hand chord progressions. So here's Lunaris for you. Let me know what you think. I hope you've enjoyed following along with my progress on beginning to learn the double-strung harp. I'd love to know what your experience has been if you've played the double-strung, and also any questions you might have about my process of learning and the book I use, Karen Peterson's Enjoy Playing the Double-Strung Harp. Please leave questions, comments, suggestions in the comments below. Thanks for listening. Thanks for commenting. Thanks for subscribing and sharing my videos. Happy harping.